Carl had a good question. Fox Sports is writing that the Dodgers may have the best lineup ever this year. Betts, Freeman, Turner, Muncy, Will Smith, Justin Turner, former Met, Taylor, Bellinger, and Pollock to round it out. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's probably not going to be far off. I mean, you've seen all those permutations from different outlets putting together their lineup. It's freaking scary. I mean, Bellinger doesn't look that great right now at the outset of spring training.
Sorry, it's not better than Murders Row, okay?
No. I mean, it's maybe not the best of all time,
yes.
but I mean, it's going to be one of the best ones we've seen in a long time, for sure.
I mean, the Yankees have a good lineup, too. I mean, it's not too shaky. I'm not saying this because I'm a Yankee fan, but you have a bunch of power in that middle of the lineup, and you add Donaldson. Donaldson's never played in a lineup that good, and they're going to be able to protect him. I don't know what you're giggling over there, Speedy. I mean, I would say, yeah, the Dodgers are good, but also the Red Sox. They're going to have a pretty good lineup this year, too. Yeah. I mean, there are a bunch of lineups right now in the American League and National League that stick out. It's not just the Dodgers. And we all seen this before. We've seen great lineups just fall apart. It just doesn't work. So that doesn't mean it's going to work.
You're right. And especially, I'm glad you pointed out the Red Sox, too, because just thinking about what their infield looks like is just ridiculous to think about. So, I mean, there are a lot of really good lineups out there, and it should be interesting to see how they perform. Because, I mean, as we saw with the Mets last year, we thought their offense was going to be great. It kind of sucked. So, I mean, it matters. It doesn't necessarily matter what it looks like on paper. It matters what they actually do on the field.
Absolutely.
But from, thinking about how great the Dodgers were last year, they won, 112 games or something like that? And they add Freddie Freeman. It's like, okay. So, like, you add someone like that in the middle to a lineup. It's just crazy to think about. And thinking about how good they already were in comparison to the rest of the NL West. I mean, obviously the Giants were really great last year, but they kind of surprised, and they lost Buster Posey, and they just lost Evan Longoria for a little bit too. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how much of a lead they pad until people start to try and knock them down a little bit. I feel like that's going to be a runaway division out there.
Yeah, and another thing, San Francisco, who everybody was talking about Kapler when he was running. I think it was the Nationals.
The Phillies.
I
thought he was the worst manager in baseball.
Worst manager in baseball. Goes to San Francisco, and with the team, he was brilliant. So figure that one out. Mm-hmm. So he gets another job, and he's just absolutely fantastic last year as a manager in the major leagues. So let's stop attacking people, a.k.a. Aaron Boone, who everybody wants to throw him off a bridge.
The Phillies just might be just unmanageable. Joe Girardi goes there and still can't fix the bullpen either. The Phillies just might have the most unmanageable team.
It's just ridiculous. But, I mean, and it's not even the Mets. When you look at just the whole league, and now with the brushing off of new rules, and then you look at the pitching and the dominance of pitching over the last couple of years, and now the Mets add Max Scherzer to that pitching staff, and then make a trade with the Athletics and add another pitcher. If he stayed healthy last year and didn't get hit with a baseball in the head, who knows where he would be? Maybe he wins the American League Cy Young, and then you have 3 Cy Young winners on one team. Where do you see this pitching staff amongst the league's best?
I would say definitely top 5. I actually saw something, MLB.com came out with their rotation rankings, and the Mets were number 1, which I was kind of surprised about, just because, yes, their top 3 is fantastic, and you can't do any better than DeGrom and Scherzer, and then adding Bassett to the mix. But, I mean, Carrasco in his very limited outing so far this spring, still giving up a lot of home runs in the first inning to, like, minor leaguers, so that's a little concerning, but not too much yet. Then Taijuan Walker is not going to necessarily be he may not be fully ready for opening day. Is he working? I can't remember what kind of surgery he had over the offseason. I think it was something with his knee or something like that. But, I think there's still a couple of questions in the back a little bit, but it's harder to do much better than the front 3 that they have. I think one difference that they have this year compared to last year is that they fill out the rotation enough where guys like Tyler McGill and David Peterson are the legit depth pieces outside of other guys who are, I can't remember the guy who was terrible that kept on coming back up and down. He was a former Philly, whatever his name is. He was terrible. And didn't belong in the major leagues at that point.
He played like Speedy. He played like Speedy. Yeah, he's horrible.
But they have actual young, talented guys who could fill in at any moment in time. In the rotation. So, I mean, David Peterson's a little bit more of a question mark because of, the year that he had last year, and then it got cut short because of injury. But it's nice to see that they could go 6-7 deep potentially, and then have to go, if they need to, which they did last year, go into the reserves beyond that as well too. Because having 5 or 6 guys do all the pitching in the rotation in a single year is not feasible at any point in time. You're going to likely have to go probably 9 or 10 deep at certain points of the year. So they're going to need to have that kind of depth to be able to run the marathon of a 162 game season.
So the new CBA rules that came out, is there any one that you particularly liked? And is there something that you would have wanted to see in this new bargaining agreement?
Come on, Matt. Come on. Say it. No more
I am
shifting.
asking him, not you.
No more shifting. Say it.
I'm asking him, not you.
There's a lot of these rules feel a little gimmicky to me. I don't necessarily see the big deal with shifting. It's like they're going to take away shifting. They're going to find something else to do. I feel like, especially with all the analytics that are out there and whatnot, there wasn't necessarily one thing that I absolutely felt like they had to add or didn't add. But they're just trying to grow the game. I really wish the Ghost Runner still wasn't around. But that's neither here nor there. They said in 2020 it's just for this year, and then 2021 just one more year, and then now this year we're going to do it again, but this is really the last year. So it's just nice to not have 7-inning doubleheaders anymore. I'd like it going back to 9 innings, but I wish I had a hot take about this, but I really don't. I'm just glad that they finally came to a freaking decision, because it was getting depressing watching them do the same thing over and over again.
As everybody knows, we are talking to creator of MLB Daily Dingers and Mets Mirage writer Matt Musico. First of all, shifting is absolutely going to help the league, because it's going to open up the offensive gates. Guys like Joey Gallo, even on the Yankees, just looking at the Yankees, Joey Gallo, Rizzo, Stanton, this is going to benefit these players because they're pull ball hitters, and that's what they do. They like pulling the ball. So it will open up, the tailgates. Their batting average is going to go up. If you don't think Rizzo right now, they're going into this year, last year, I think he was batting 262, 263. If there was no shifting, and because this year the shifting is still available, but if shifting wasn't going into this year, I bet you he's the 274, 280 hitter. And it changes. It changes everything. It changes how now. Analytics are changing everything, and they'll find another way to analytically change something where it's going to affect the game, but not as much as shifting has. It's affected the game offensively. I think juicing the ball, corking the bats, finding a way to, where the umpires, having the umpires actually, you can challenge the umpires. I think it's all stupid. Just stop the shifting, open up the tailgate, and let the game fall for what it is. You want to see offense? It's going to bring more offense. That's what I believe.
I wonder, if once shifting goes away, because for every cause there's an effect. I wonder, it's going to change how pitchers pitch. Because, pitchers with the shift, they're going to pitch a certain way. Without the shift, they pitch a different way. So, I agree with you. It's going to certainly open up things a little bit more. I wonder how if it's going to just be a little bit of an adjustment to then being back to, a different way to the way things were, or if it's going to be something more long term. That's the thing we're going to find out eventually, but it'll be interesting to watch for sure.
By the way, the Phillies pitcher that's how forgettable it was that you were thinking it was Jared Eichhoff. That's
who it is.
That's how terrible he was. I was thinking Zach Eflin in my head, and I'm like, no, he's still on the Phillies. So one more question for me. Just one bold prediction for the Mets and one bold prediction for the MLB season coming up.
Let's see. One bold prediction for the Mets. Let's say Francisco Lindor MVP season. How about that?
Interesting.
For the overall season, I'm gonna say, goodness, God, you guys put me on the spot here.
He did. I didn't do anything.
Yeah, he did. It's all his
That's
fault.
right. Everything's his fault. Let's blame him for everything.
I'll say, I don't know. We'll go real bold. Juan Soto Triple Crown. How about that?
Ooh, all right.
Interesting.
Full year with the Nationals, or he gets traded?
Oh, well, I mean, I'd like him to come to New York, but no, I think he'll be in Washington for another year. His brother's there. His brother is going to be in the minor league system. He's got to stick around for a little bit at least. You know?
I don't see him going to the Mets. If he goes anywhere, it's the Yankees. I don't think it's going to be the Mets. I think there's too much money that Steve Cohen has spent, over the last 2 years. To bring in another $400 million, I think that's just too much. And I don't think it. Now, he could. I'm not going to say that it can't happen. I could see the Cubs making a move like that to bring in a big-time superstar, the Chicago White Sox, because they have a good farm system. He would fit very well over there. So, yeah. But he wants to go to a big market. I mean, Chicago, New York, L.A. I mean, obviously, he's not going to the Dodgers because they've just. I don't know what their salary cap's going to be. I mean, it's ridiculous.
They're going to have to change this. They're going to have to change this tax again.
It's absolutely
increase
ridiculous.
It to 80% because of the Dodgers.
And you want to know something? Now that the Yankees aren't doing that, now all the Yankee fans want to jump off a plank. Listen, Yankee fans, I'm going to say it again. And now that Matt Musico is hearing it and listening it to today, and I will throw it under the covers on this one. Hopefully, I'm wearing some underwear when I'm doing it. The Yankees have always been better when they haven't bought their roster, okay? Just remember that. Then when they don't buy the roster, and I don't want to hear about Giancarlo Stanton. He was practically given to the Yankees. Derek Jeter, before he left, he said, here's a present. And no Yankee fans, he doesn't stink because he's the only one that hits in the playoffs for them. So please, okay? So to me, right now, the Yankees, what they're doing, they paid Garrett Cole. They're going to have to. They've paid some players. Gleyber Torres has looked really, really good this spring training. There's a lot of good signs with him. There's been good signs with some of the players that they've brought in. Their shortstop that they brought in that trade, he's looked pretty good the last couple of games. So I think what the Yankees need to do and what the Mets need to do is build around their farm system. That's what wins, and that's what always wins. So hopefully, Mr. Musico, that's what New York sports will be from now on. We see it with the Jets. Hopefully, that'll help them win after 50-some odd years. We see it with the Giants now. They're gonna build around the draft, and we see that with the Rangers. We've seen that with the Islanders. That's what wins, and I think it's been a big problem for New York sports. The Red Sox have done it they've done it very well. The New England Patriots have done it very well. That's why. Boston sports have dominated the last 15 years. So that's just my opinion on that one. So,
yeah.
Anyways, Mr. Musico, why don't you tell the fans how they can find you on social media? We're looking forward to have you a fourth time very soon as well.
Yeah, for sure. You can find me on Twitter at mmusico8. And obviously, if you want to check out MLB Daily Dingers, it's just at MLB Daily Dingers on Twitter as well. And this was a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys having me on.
I love you, man.
Baseball. And hopefully we got a good season on tap.
I remember my birthday party's coming up. I remember I told you got to come out for my birthday. You didn't come out last year on the boat, but this is my 40th, man. I'm going to be 40 years old, man.
Oh, man. So this is like the 11th anniversary of your 29th birthday,
man,
right?
Please don't throw me under the bus on that one, man. Thank you.
The specific numbers are better, though. 11th anniversary of the 29th birthday.
Oh, well, thank you, Speedy. Just make me look older and make me sound older.
No,
Anyways.
I'm praising Matt for the specific numbers, not just rounding up to 10.
Could you stop with your analytics for 5 seconds, please? Jesus. Anyways, Matt, thank you for joining us.
All right, take care, guys. Appreciate it.